And welcome back to another episode of My Osprey TV. I am your host, Marie Gilmore, the editor and publisher of the Osprey Observer Community newspapers. When we're out in the community, we meet so many great businesses and so many great people doing good things in the community. And today's guest is one of those people. So glad to have you here, Anthony Suarez, the founder and executive broker of Next Level Lending. And we actually met at a pickleball tournament. And
Yeah, that's right.
I'm so glad you reminded me because I out in the community, I meet so many people and sometimes I forget exactly how or where. So I'm so glad you reminded me that we met at the pickleball tournament. So nice to see you again.
You as well. Thank you so much for having me on the podcast. It was nice reconnecting with you after a little while.
Oh, absolutely. We have such a great community. When you get involved in events in the community, you really never know that you're also networking at the same time. And
Right, right.
it's really
Absolutely.
fun. It's all connected as we're raising our families and making a strong community. So tell me about your company, Next Level Lending.
Yeah, sure. So, Next Level Lending launched in December of 2024. I had been in the mortgage space for 13 years. I started as a closer, processor, underwriter, was a broker with another brokerage for a short time, and then just kind of decided it was time to spread my wings and open up my own thing. And so we launched, and it's been fantastic so far. I mean, I wouldn't change anything so far. We've met so many different great people. We've connected, and we've really brought AI into what we're trying to do a lot here, and made it a forefront of what the business is, and how we qualify our clients and stuff. So, we've really made some great partnerships on that landscape, and yeah, it's been phenomenal so far. And we're
Excellent.
a wholesale mortgage brokerage too. So I know some people just have different. So we're on the wholesale side. So, we work with a collective bunch of different lenders. We have products for, first time home buyers all the way through seasoned investors.
Excellent. And congratulations on having your business just past that 1 year mark, about 3 months in. And
Mhm.
that's a big deal to start your
Mhm.
own business and you've got the experience behind you and you know what to do. So I love that you mentioned AI because of course that's all the conversation these days. And so tell me how AI has helped your business.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's funny. I always tell the story of what of how I got started. So one day I was actually sitting in my office, and I was actually looking at my splits, and I was like, I'm not really happy with what I got going on here, right? And I was like, I want to open up my own company. Kind of not knowing where to start, I went to, ChatGPT, and I was like, hey, I'm a loan officer in the state of Florida. I want to open up my own mortgage brokerage, and I want to do it like within the next 10 days. And I want a checklist of how to do this and where to get started. And it did. It spit out an entire checklist for me to follow with a plan over the next 10 days on how to get the business set up. And sure enough, 10 days later, we made the switch to our own brand. And, that's just, one of the ways that AI has helped shape the business. Right now, we work with, some partners in the Tampa area who are also implementing AI software onto our websites and into our phone calls. So, if we don't get to answer a phone call, you'll have an AI assistant that's answering your phone calls, and you can have a full-on conversation with them. And they're going to answer your questions in live time. And, if they need to record a message or if they need to transfer a call, they'll do all those things too. So, we're implementing AI in that landscape too. And then just kind of also teaching all of our partners how great of a tool AI really is, and getting them to understand it all the way down from the basic level of what things like ChatGPT are and what an LLM is, and how to leverage and use those things for their benefit as much as possible.
I think it can be a really great tool if we're using it for good.
Yeah.
Much like many of the tools in our coffers, if you know what to ask and in what format, I think it can be a good thing. Um, so I think it can be used in the business processes and procedures. And again, as long as we're using it for good and making the world a
Yeah.
better place and improving processes and procedures and getting leaner and doing things more efficiently, I think it's great. So, of course, there's been a lot of conversations about mortgage rates and whether now's the time to buy or now's the time to refi. And I love when I talk to realtors and they're like, it's real estate. There's really never a bad time to buy or sell.
Yeah. Yeah.
What what is your opinion? Is now a good time to get a mortgage, to
Okay.
refi a mortgage? Talk to me about that.
So I'm sure there's that term that everybody's been spitting out over the last couple of years, right? Which is like you date the rate and you marry the house, right? That's the term everybody's going out and spitting out there. But there's one thing you can look at real estate over the last 25, 30 years is that historically it appreciates every single year for you. So you're always going to make your money back on in owning real estate. I think out of the last 40 years, there was only 4 years where real estate depreciated and wasn't a good value for you, right? So if you're talking about a long-term investment that's always going to appreciate, I think real estate's always the way to go. Now, what's been happening over the last couple of days has been, pretty volatile. And it's funny, I just got off a conversation with another loan officer, and I'm like, hey, he's got all these concerns, and I'm like, look, I've read, a handful of different reports, and I can tell you that no one really knows what's going on with the rates right now, right? Like we don't. And I think the next couple weeks, from today's date, right? Like it's going to be pretty rocky. And I think it's going to be really important that people have a really good broker or a partner that they can work with that's going to help them find the best possible solutions for them and still save them money on the long end. And I think that's where, the brokers are stepping in and are going to be able to help all the clients as we move forward. But just like today, today's what, April 9th. We're seeing the highest rates we've seen all year since February, right? Since February, we haven't seen rates this high. The national average on a conventional mortgage right now is at 6.85. Just a couple of days ago, we were locking in at like 6.25, 6 1/8. And so, we've seen a substantial jump just in this past week. So, inventory is rising. New construction is kind of keeping things, a little rocky, right? Because it's hard to compete when lenders can't compete with new construction companies when you get all the incentives, right? So it's a little harder. But yeah, I think it's always a good time to invest in real estate. I think you're always going to get your money back at the end of the day. So
I I'd have to agree. And so that's such a big investment in a person's life to worry about a quarter of a percent, a half a percent. You got to do what's best for your family and
mhm.
make the right decision at the right time. So I know there's a lot of great programs out there, and especially with a broker, there's a lot of opportunities for people. Tell me about things that are out there for first-time home buyers and who is considered a first-time home buyer in this environment.
Yeah, it shows. Sure. So first time home buyers are going to be people who have not been on the deed of a home in the last 3 years. So if you haven't owned a home in the last 3 years, you need first time home buyer. As far as products and programs, I saw Hillsborough County just came out with something called Home Sweet Home, where they're giving up to $30,000 in closing cost concessions. And then as the broker, I have first time home buyer down payment assistance programs year round, that are privately funded by different lenders. Some of those are repayable, some of them are forgiven. And those start between 3.5% all the way up to 5% of the purchase price of the home. So, yeah, down payment assistance is a great product right now, especially if people really want to try and save some of their money, because we really don't know what lies ahead of us right now. So, having some of those, liquid assets, I think, are always key. So, if I can help save people money and keep as much pocket money in their pocket when they buy their home, then, that's my goal.
Well, I think that's great because we think of a first-time home buyer as a recent graduate or a young married couple, but really for somebody who's been renting for several years,
Mhm.
that they could also be considered in that first-time home buyers category. So that is really kind of something exciting for them. Well, thank you so
Yeah,
much, Anthony. I
absolutely.
appreciate you coming on today, giving us a little bit of insight. I know it's one of those ever-changing businesses. So going with
Yes.
a broker gives you the opportunity to kind of work with somebody and spread out the opportunity across lots of different companies and work for the person rather than just for the single company. So
That's right.
I
That's right.
I appreciate you getting involved in pickleball events and different charities in the community and for being there for people. So tell us how people can get a hold of you if they have any questions.
Yeah, so I'm available on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. I try to be pretty present on my social media, so you can definitely find me on social media. If not, my phone number is 813-509-9222. Please give me a phone call. I try to make myself available for most of the day, and I would love to speak with anybody. And also we have a recurring monthly series that we do.
Okay, very cool. So you're more than just a numbers guy. You're also an
Oh yeah,
educator at the
yeah.
same time.
I
Awesome. Well,
like to be out. I like to be out and meet people, especially within our community. So,
thank you so much. Have a great day.
thank you. You too, Marie. Talk with you soon.